Hello guys, it's Mr. Calvert. We're going to be going for a flipped learning session looking at organisation and planning a sports activity session. So as you know, we're now looking at going into developing our coaching, and we're going to plan, we're going to deliver, and we're going to evaluate our sessions. Now this is the first part of that, and it's the factors that we need to consider when coaching a session. So the concept, so what we are looking at today, so as I said on the previous slide, so it's the considerations that you need to take into account when you are organising a coaching session. So we're not just going to turn up and go, right guys, we're looking at shooting today. There are certain things that you as a leader must take into account. So we're going to go through a few of these, they're on the slide. So have you got an appropriate venue? What is the location? Have you got, is it a big enough area? What's the weather like? And is it appropriate? So if it's a wet, windy day outside, are you going to have to go inside and change your venue, so to speak? Have you got the right amount of equipment? Do you have the right type of equipment that's appropriate for your group? So for example, if you're working with younger students, are you using the correct size footballs or basketballs for your session? Because there are requirements in terms of the size that are actually supposed to be used. Your timing of your session, is it suitable for the age that you've got and the ability of your group? So for example, you might have a low ability group, and the timing might need to be a little bit less on that activity because you might find that they will find it a little bit more difficult. Therefore, they might struggle and they might become disengaged. So spending too long on that one activity, okay, could be a detriment towards your session. And then finally, supervision. So that means how many participants have you got? What is the size of the group? And again, this will depend on the age and the activity that you have chosen. So with the main thing when we're taking into consideration for all our coaching sessions, it's the word appropriateness. Now I've got the key term over on the left hand side. So it's the quality of being suitable or proper in the circumstances. So have you taken into consideration your surrounding, your equipment, your participants, and is it all appropriate? And we need to make sure that it's all appropriate, and we have taken them into consideration before planning a session to make sure that it's effective, that when we deliver it. The task, what it is that you actually need to do. So what you're going to do is what I've got an example of on the board for you here or on the screen. I'm going to run through my example with you, and then you're going to give this a go as well. So I've decided to pick a basketball session, and we're going to look at the set shot. And we're gonna, my age group that I'm looking at, or my group, is year 7. Okay, so that's a mixed group, year 7, looking at the set shot within basketball. Now you can see on the left hand side, I've got my factors that I need to take into consideration. So I've got venue, equipment, timing, and supervision. So they are my main factors that I need to take into consideration and I need to think about before I start planning my session. So I've got an example column and a justification column, and I'm just going to go through them with you, and you are going to do this as well. So make sure that you are listening, and don't forget that you can obviously pause this video and you can go back and listen to it again if you need to. So my venue, well, my example is going to be a sports hall. Okay, it's winter. We could possibly go outside in the summer, but it's not very appropriate, okay, because you've got the wind, so it's not really fair. So our venue is the sports hall. We're going to be inside. Now the justification for this is obviously we need to be inside on the basketball court because that's where we've got the basketball court markings, and it's obviously, like I said before, it's currently winter and it's going to guarantee us dry weather, which means that you are going to be able to get the best type of set shot off your students because there's going to be no wind to take into consideration, there's going to be no wet weather, there's going to be no other distractions. Okay, so the venue is the sports hall. We then have equipment. Alright, now this may seem obvious, okay, but there are other examples and things that you might miss out depending on the sport that you are doing. So we need basketballs. I'm going to use floor spots. I've got basketball hoops, and I possibly will need bibs. So my justification for that is that all the equipment is obviously needed to take part in a shooting drill. You can't really do a shooting drill without basketball hoops and balls, but I've decided to pick floor spots because they are safer on the basketball court than what cones are. Alright, and then bibs in case we get into a game situation and we need to differentiate between the people obviously that are shooting and defending. My timing, okay, so we're back onto the factors as well now. So I'm going to do a 25 to 30 minute drill, including warm-up time. Now for me, the reason why I've picked this is because it's enough time to deliver the skill and then practice for the students before they start to become a little bit too disengaged. So if we're doing 45 minutes of shooting and we're really refining technique, you might find that it's a long period of time for year 7s to concentrate, especially if we've got a mixed ability group. So we need to make sure that we're thinking about our timing in that. And then the supervision. And the supervision is kind of already done with for you because you know that you are using year 7 students. But I'm going to work with 12 students and I'm going to have them working in pairs. Now I've chosen to have them working in pairs within my justification because it allows the students to have enough time to develop that skill. Now what I mean by that is you're not going to have 6 students, 1 basketball and 1 basketball hoop, and they are getting 1 shot every 2 to 3 minutes. If you have 1 basketball between 2 people, they're going to get lots of shots, they're going to get lots of practice and hopefully meet the session objectives and improve and obviously develop on their progress because they're effectively getting more shots up, they're getting more opportunity to practice that skill. Your flipped learning task. You are going to essentially complete the table that I have done on the previous slide. There's also a blank copy of the table on the next slide, and you're going to do that for a sport of your choice. Now I would really like you to try and go for a sport that's out of your comfort zone. Now what I mean by that is if you are competing in basketball or netball and you've got sound knowledge within those sports, I'd quite like you to do something like table tennis, hockey, maybe even swimming. Alright, so you can really get a good idea of a broad range of factors that needs to be taken in consideration for the different types of sport. Once you've done that, once you've chosen your sport, you'll need to select the skill that you're going to consider to coach. And guys, you're not going to actually have to physically go out and coach these. I would just like you, it's all just for consideration and to get your brains thinking and minds working onto what it is that you need to take into consideration for your session. Once you've then selected your skill, you can then select an age group that you could coach the skill to. Now I know that I said on the previous slide that we're all going to do year 7 and it's been chosen for us, but again, if you would like to push yourself and do a different age group, that's absolutely fine as well. The wide range of age groups, genders, abilities that we've got when we bring all our considerations together, the greater discussion that we will have. So once you've got all that information that you decide you're going to do, I would then obviously like you to give your examples of the factors and then the justification that you are going to use for that. And then please bring your table or however you've set the work out to the next lesson, and what we'll do is we'll review all of those and we'll bring all our information together and we'll start to take into consideration other factors that people might have missed and that you might need to include next time. Again, if you need to go back and listen to anything, you can rewind the video, and obviously listen to it again. If you've got any further questions, please don't hesitate to come and find me and seek me out in school and I can help you out. Okay, and good luck.